Hello, everybody. Welcome by another episode of Follow Your Passion. Let me introduce my guest of today. Her name is Blaire Brown. She is the founder and brand strategist behind Visionary Advantages Brand Strategy Group. That's quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
She specializes in helping small to medium-sized businesses and entrepreneurs with their marketing and branding initiatives. She's incredibly passionate about helping businesses gain more visibility through marketing and branding, as well as giving entrepreneurs the help they need to help lift their business off the ground. And as far as she can remember, she has this entrepreneurial blood running through his vessels. So welcome, Blair.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm
So
so excited to talk to you.
yeah, so talk about this entrepreneurial blood that is running through your veins. How did it start?
Yeah, well, honestly, it's something that I can't even shake. I can't help but it's in me. So I started my first business whenever I was 16. I started out in handbags. Back in the day, I was in high school, I was very young, and everybody at school was carrying all these bags that were way out of my price range, designer. One, I was 16, couldn't afford that. Two, I didn't want to look like everybody else. So I was like, you know what? I know how to sew. I'm just gonna make my own. And so I started making my own handbags and it really took off. Strangers would stop me and ask me where I bought them, teachers, friends, everybody. And I went to my parents and I said, hey, can I borrow $300 and go to the fabric store and start a business? And my parents looked at each other and they're like, yeah. So I started that business and I ended up running it for 8 years, which is kind of crazy. I loved it though. I built a website, sold it on there. I ended up going to fashion school for college and really pursuing the fashion industry because I thought, that would be the grand plan, right? You say, you make a plan, you think that's what it's going to be. So I was sewing and selling handbags out of my dorm room for a very long time.
Nice.
So over time, thanks. Over time, I realized, okay, this might not be sustainable for long-term growth. I couldn't figure out like the manufacturing part of things at that point in my life. I was young. And so I kind of switched gears. I went in and out of the fashion corporate world and then ended up in fashion marketing. And I loved that. And then, but halfway through that, I was like, something's not right about this. I have this picture perfect job, but it's not as fulfilling as I want it to be. And if I'm looking at another 40 years down the line plus or whatever working, am I going to be in the same position? And that just seemed very off to me. And so I looked into other avenues and my mom actually contacted me. She said, hey, I found this business venture online. I found it on YouTube and I was like, Mom, you're so hip. You're on YouTube. And so and it was called Amazon FBA. And for anyone listening who doesn't know what that is, it's another part of Amazon where fulfillment by Amazon is what it stands for. And basically what you are as an individual is the middleman between the factories of where you're getting your product and Amazon. So you're handling all the creation, manufacturing parts. And then once they ship it to the country that you're in, Amazon tells you what warehouses they go in, and then they pack, pick, and ship it for you and all that stuff. So I did that for a while. We sold unicorn party supplies. And so, because we thought, okay, that's always in style with kids. So we ran through that whole process. It took forever, but I was doing that while juggling my corporate fashion job. And it wasn't as profitable as I wanted it to be. So we ended up just selling out of the product and then moving on to the next. And so while I had this job, I was just like, I just gotta, I still had that voice in my head, like, you need to start a business, you need to do something else. And so finally I just took the leap and I was like, you know what? Worst case scenario, I had a background in bartending as well. I was like, worst case, I just like bartend and then figure out what business I'm going to start. So that's what I did. I just got out of corporate. I was bartending for a while and then picking up freelance jobs. I ended up in marketing consulting and I have since grown that to a marketing agency. And I also sell a digital course for new and aspiring entrepreneurs to help them start their businesses. And it's just grown ever since then. And that's really where my passion is helping people go into entrepreneurship and get their businesses off the ground.
Nice. What I like about your story as well is that you have, how do you say that? You've walked the walk, right? You've built your own business. You know what you need in order to build a business, and so you're a great mentor for just starting entrepreneurs, I would say, because you've been there, you've done it, you know how marketing works, you know how to sell, and I think that's a very valuable experience that you gained over the years.
Thank you. Yeah, I've definitely made all the mistakes, but I've also figured out all the shortcuts too, like how you can work your way around all many challenges, right? You're an entrepreneur, you know. So,
Yeah.
but for me, it's so rewarding, like to get that person out of idea mode and like taking action and being able to shorten the time frame versus having to Google it for months on end and getting lost. If I can give somebody a clear path and help them out, to me, that's super fulfilling.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And it just reminded me of, I'm not sure if you know that there's this little challenge they do with spaghetti. The spaghetti challenge,
Yeah.
do you know that?
Yes, where you fling it against the wall, see if
No,
it
no, no,
sticks.
no, no, no.
No.
It's uncooked spaghetti, right?
Okay, okay.
And you got some marshmallows, and
Oh.
it's like a management game because the trainer will challenge you, and you have several groups, right, with 3 or 4 people, and
Mhm,
they're challenged to build the highest tower, and they got like 15 minutes to do that.
mhm.
And you know who are great at those challenges?
Who?
Children, because if you do this with adults, with grown-ups, especially managers, they start thinking what way to build the strongest structure, and how to deal with it, and then they start build. Children just start building, right? And if it
Mhm,
falls down, they know that doesn't work, and they try something else. So by the
mhm,
time that the adults are start building, the children are like already like this high. You can't beat the children because they're not procrastinating. They're just learning by doing, and I think
mhm,
that's great, and that's what you just said. You're helping the entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, to just
mhm,
start, and you give them
mhm.
some tools that they can finally start acting on their desires instead of what you said, googling and postponing everything.
Yeah, and that's so funny. I've never heard of that challenge before, but I love that analogy because it's so true. All you have to do is just start because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be, and you'll be more upset with yourself because you're like, "Oh, I'm stuck," right? But if you have that voice in your head or tapping on your heart or whatever to start your own business, you just have to get started and just know like you are going to have hiccups and challenges along the way, but it's worth it if you just push through it and problem solve.
Yeah. So do you have a certain niche that you love to work with, or is everybody welcome to
Yeah, so I specifically for creating their businesses, I work with digital service-based businesses. So it could be another marketer because that's what I do. It could be coaches, copywriters, really anybody who's essentially like the digital nomads.
nice, nice.
Mhm.
And how did you come to this niche?
Well, that's what I am an expert in, and so I figured, well, let's focus on where I'm an expert, right? So, and so many people are going into those different areas of entrepreneurship, especially after the pandemic, because they want to have that ability and security, really, of being able to work from anywhere and to work from home at any time, especially with a lot of people. That have kids as well that, their kids had to be homeschooled or something during the pandemic. It's a lot easier if you could just work anywhere and like be able to have that flexible lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you like the entrepreneurship yourself?
Oh, I love it. It's a lot of work, but I'm obsessed with it. I mean, it's literally all I do is I talk to entrepreneurs. I help them build their businesses. And for my own business, I just find it so exciting and fun because I'm working with passionate people all the time. And while I work a lot, I'm able to still like, as an entrepreneur, you can control the outcome in your own way. Like you're not capped by somebody else's salary that they put on you, right? You could just continue to grow your business or if you want to bring it back in, which is rare, but you can. For me, I feel like it sounds crazy, but to me, it seems more secure to be an entrepreneur than to work in the corporate world with the way that the economy is right now.
Yeah, and it actually makes sense to me because you're more in control. You know, you're an action taker.
Mhm,
So if things are slow, you know, you need to take more action.
mhm.
And when you work in the corporate world, you know, you're dependent on other departments, other people doing their job, you know, and you can't do everything yourself. If you want to do everything yourself, you should be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, exactly. Plus, if I wanna, like, go, take a day off and whatnot, I don't have to ask anybody. You just build that into your schedule. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. And it's also what some people like to say, you know, if you're doing what you love to do, you don't have to work another day
Exactly.
because it energizes you, you know. I still remember when I had a talk with my mother a few years ago.
Mhm.
I started working for myself 7 years ago. And when I told my mother, she said something, you know, I find it very brave of you, you know, and I'm supporting you. But you should also be aware to save some money for your retirement,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I said to her, you know, Mom, I know where you're coming from and I appreciate it and understand it, but I'm going to do the work what I love to do, right?
Mhm.
So why should I stop doing that when I'm 65 or 70, right? I can do this still when I'm 75, when I'm 80, when I'm 85.
Mhm.
Why should I stop doing what I love to do? You know, I'm not working for my retirement. I'm working because I love it. You know, I love helping people. I love coaching them. I love transforming their lives.
Mhm.
And as long as I can do that, I will probably be doing that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if you get up out of bed every day and you have that drive and passion behind it, it makes it so much easier because, like you said, it doesn't really feel like working. But I think someone on Shark Tank said, an entrepreneur will work 80 plus hours a week so that to work for themselves so that they don't have to work 40 hours a week for somebody else. It's just like so true, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like work, right?
Mhm.
I'm from the Netherlands, as you know, and we have I think one of our biggest export products are DJs, you
Mhm.
know, and I remember the interview with DJ Chesto.
Mhm.
And the interviewer asked Chesto, you know, isn't it hard your way of living? You know, the work you're doing because you're making music at the strangest hours. You know, in the middle of the night, he's having jet lag from flying all over the world and stuff like that. Isn't it hard to live this way? And he said, well, no, because it doesn't feel like work to him, you know. He's doing what he
Mhm.
loves to do. He's entertaining an audience, he's making
Mhm.
music, he's being creative, and
Mhm.
people are willing to pay for that.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a great way of looking at entrepreneurship. You know, if you're doing what you love to do and people are willing to pay for that, it's a win-win situation.
Mhm. It really is a win-win.
So Blair, tell me, is there a particular client that stands out for you that you're particularly proud of what you've accomplished for him or her?
Yes, I mean, I'm going through my brain now, like, which one? Because I am very proud of so many of them. Honestly, uh, it's been really fulfilling to see, we part of my agency, for example, is, marketing, and so we do a lot of website creation or, marketing plans for people and strategies, and
Hmm.
so, for me, when people come to me, they're super stressed and they have no idea about marketing and they're like, "Oh my god, like, I just wish my website looked professional and I wish that, I was getting more clients." But there's one client in particular that came back to me and a few of them actually that were like, because of the consolidation and like a new set of eyes, like I'm actually really proud of like how my website looks and that how we're projecting ourselves as a brand. So that is something I am particularly very proud of. And then just other clients that I've worked with one-on-one of creating their businesses where they tell me, "I had this idea, I didn't really think it was possible, but now I'm actually, like, doing it." And that to me is like, "Oh my gosh, they're actually doing it." It makes me so happy.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine that. And
Yeah.
it's funny that you say that because I see a lot of clients as well that are a bit introvert, they're not living or playing the full potential, so to speak. And once they see the branding working or the marketing, like what you're actually doing, and they see that their idea, their dream comes alive, and they start recognizing it, it also builds their self-esteem and self-confidence.
Totally.
If they see the
It really
website and they
does.
think, whoa, is that me? You almost see them grow at the moment.
Yeah, and, like, to give them that confidence, to me, it's just like, "Oh, there's my paycheck." You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's so nice because they come to you frazzled and like, "Is this possible? I don't know." And like you said, there's no limit to your potential really. For them to, like, finally realize that at some point is just like, "Okay, like, this is so cool." Like, they went from really freaking out and stressing to, like, having a clear path and confident in the direction that they're going in, and, like, from there, it's like a whole different person, and the fact
yeah.
that you can transport them and get them there is so cool.
Yeah. So talking about that, if you look at your own entrepreneurial journey and you would look back like a few years ago, do you recognize yourself how you've grown over those years?
Wow. I actually I literally talked about this to my brother the other day. He's also an entrepreneur. It is wild how much I've changed over the past few years, just from surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs and business owners. Like, the mindset has changed, realizing there's no limit to anything. Like, you could truly do whatever you want. And that sounds crazy, but it's true. And, y- you know, the fact that you can scale your business in specific ways by hiring on teams, but you don't have to be super rich at the beginning to do that. Like, there are manageable, budgetable ways to hire on a team and grow your business. Like, that's how you should start. I honestly, a year ago, I could see huge changes even, and, like, even the past 6 months, I could see huge changes. Because the thing is about entrepreneurship and starting your business is that you're going to constantly be changing and growing, and, as long as you surround yourself with those people that are doing the same things, that are thinking big, no is really never an answer. It's just like, how can we get there? Once you surround yourself with those people, it's just unlimited potential. Just keep going, and yeah, you'll be like 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. Right. It,
All
it
the hacks.
yeah, it actually reminded me of something that one of my coaches once said, that no just means they don't know enough to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful to hear how you've grown. Do you also recognize some, I would almost say, newbie mistakes you made at the beginning that you would be laughing at right now?
Oh, like so many.
Yeah.
Where do I start? No, I honestly think that the biggest something that I wish I had done sooner was hire on help, like hire on people to help me out to scale my business. It took me a long time to figure out how to do that. And once I did, it was like game on, not game over, game
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
bring it on.
Yeah.
Because once I was like, oh, I can hand this off and somebody's gonna help me. Cool. Oh, this too. Now it's like, wow, what can't I do? You know what I mean? Like, but that would be my rookie mistake, is not handing it off sooner, and feeling like I needed to put my hands in everything. Once I realized, okay, like, I've got the big picture strategy here, but I have a capable team that's amazing, and they are also able to do this for me. So learning how to delegate tasks strategically definitely was a learning curve and a rookie mistake not doing it sooner. So everybody
Yeah.
listening, do it sooner if you're thinking about it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's what you said, but you have to have a strategic plan to
Yeah,
do that, right? And I notice it with a lot of starting entrepreneurs as well, that in the beginning you don't have a lot of money, so
exactly.
everything you can do yourself, you're doing
Mhm,
yourself.
mhm,
But you should also know your own value, right?
mhm,
Let's, for instance, say that writing a blog post is not your thing, right?
mhm,
And you're never satisfied with the quality, so it takes
mhm.
you like 4 hours to write the blog, right?
Right.
And when you're writing 3 blogs, that's already 1.5 working business day. Well, not in the entrepreneurial world, but in the corporate world, it's 1.5 business day, right? It's 12 hours.
Right. Yeah.
And if you could outsource it to somebody that's a professional writer, right? And they may even write you 6 blogs of, let's say 5 blogs, for $500, right? You say,
Mhm.
well, that's $500. I don't have that money, so I rather do it myself. But if your hourly rate is like $100, writing 3 blogs will cost you $1,200, which you can't invoice a customer for, right?
Mhm.
So instead of spending $500 for writing 5 blogs, which is even more,
Mhm.
you're actually saving $700 because you can spend those 12 hours you would have spending on blog writing to helping clients or getting business deals or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it's that entrepreneurial mindset that it has to click in your mind to understand it and what it means to delegate or outsource things so you can spend your time more wisely and getting more clients or helping clients, making chargeable hours.
Exactly. I mean, it's a little scary too at first whenever you are on a tight budget, like, ooh, like, am I allocating my money to the right thing, the right tasks, how many hours, etc. But like you said, you actually end up saving more money because your hourly rate should be very high, right? Like, like it's just at the end of the day, you have to think of it that way and realize like you're actually growing your business and you're opening the doors for more opportunities to make more money. So,
Yeah, exactly. You can even test somebody, if you don't have to pay them directly, to outsource something, but you can also test somebody, or ask a
right.
student if they can help you. You don't have to always deliver, pay money for it. It can also be like a service you're offering somebody, right?
Mhm. Mhm. You can
So,
definitely do it on a budget for sure.
yeah, exactly. There has to be something in return for the offered services, but it doesn't always have to be money. You have to be creative and flexible about it.
Totally.
Yeah, nice. So, um, if you look at your own business for like the coming 5 years, do you have any end goal or vision where you want to take your business?
Yeah, oh my gosh, where I have 500 million ideas for it. So yeah, that's hard. Um, honestly, because I love, like I said, helping entrepreneurs get started, my vision in the next 5 years is to really grow my business launch lab. That's the name of my course, and to just really develop that program out even more than what it is now. Right now, it is a group program where we have monthly group calls and I can help people when I'm well in a group setting on Zoom that way. After they go through the program of like all the video tutorials and everything. But if I can expand that to become even bigger in the next 5 years, and then continue to grow my agency as well, because that makes sense as a secondary thing to help people like once they launch their businesses, if they need marketing help, that's where we come in. So really just growth. That's the next 5 years. And then of course, one day I want to write a book. So hopefully that'll happen in the next 5 years.
Nice. What will the book be about, Blair?
Oh, probably starting businesses and, maybe a little my time in New York City as well. I lived there for over 10 years, so got lots of stories there. So entrepreneurship, New York, you know.
The things.
Yeah,
Nice.
building an empire, that's all.
Exactly. Nice, nice. But it's also great to um, maybe you recognize this as well. But I did a training, and this training had me listening to an audio file on a daily basis for 2 years.
Wow.
And that was just part of the training, was mind training. And my mentor said, you have to have a purpose in order to complete it, right? Otherwise, you might skip some, and that shouldn't be the case.
Mhm,
So back then, it was hypnotherapy training, and my purpose or my goal was to become the best hypnotherapist of the world.
mhm.
And that's quite an ambitious goal, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So, and I always explain it to people that Will I ever be the best hypnotherapist of the world? I don't know. I might be, someday.
Mhm.
Will I be able to prove it? Probably not. Because when I start proclaiming I'm the best hypnotherapist of the world, somebody might stand up and say, "What are you talking about? I'm already in business for 40 years. You're still a rookie, right? You're just coming look at the place." But that's not that's not what I love about it is having this very ambitious, outrageous goal for yourself.
Mhm.
Is It's not about the goal, but it's about the journey towards it,
Mhm.
right? I'm enjoying the journey. It makes me learning every day. I'm
Mhm.
learning from my clients. I'm learning from our conversation. I'm learning from
Mhm.
from my two sons.
Mhm.
I'm the eternal student. I learn from people that are further down the road than I am. I'm learning from
Mhm.
what they're doing. And so it's not about reaching
Mhm.
the end goal, but it's about the journey towards it.
Mhm.
I keep on growing, keep on developing myself. Just what you said, if you look at 6 months from now, you're already grown so much more than you could have ever imagined,
Mhm.
because you also have this learning, like this eternal student attitude, I would almost
Oh
say.
yeah. Mhm.
And that's what you say, it's about where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years. Maybe you have this branding and marketing empire, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But having this vision for yourself, it will keep you focused. It will keep you determined to learn, to grow, and to develop yourself and your company.
Mhm. Totally. If I can help thousands of people get into entrepreneurship and accomplish living their dream life of flexibility and freedom and whatever that may mean to them, that would be so incredible and fulfilling to me.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Mhm.
I actually I do the same for my clients, but in a
Mhm.
different perspective. You do that by
Mhm.
branding and marketing, building a business. I
Mhm.
help them with the entrepreneurial mindset and a bit of
Mhm.
business strategy.
That's so
But it's
cool. And those are so important to have because to be an entrepreneur, it's a lot of it is mindset and like getting past those little roadblocks in your brain that tell you that's too hard.
Oh yeah,
So that's really cool you're able to help people with that.
yeah. I remember that one day that something clicked in my mind. That I looked at other people; they were more successful than I was, and I thought, you know, great for them, but I will never be like that. Something like
Mhm.
that. It's not for me.
Mhm.
And then one day it clicked to me. If they can do it, why shouldn't I be able to do that? They're not that different, right? They're not
Mhm.
smarter than me.
Mhm.
So if they can do it, I might as well do it as well.
Exactly. Just go hang out with those people and see what they're doing, and most of the time, if you surround yourself with those kind of people, they're more than happy to share, like, "Oh, yeah, like, here's all the hacks that I've done that have gotten me to this level." They're normal people, they just went after it, and everybody can do that.
Exactly. It's what one of quote that I loved reading. Is that a winner is just a loser who tried it one more time.
Yeah, that's so true. I like that.
Yeah. And I actually had another episode with Brian Clayton from Greenpal. He has built a million business.
Mhm.
And he said, that entrepreneurship is going from failure to failure and enjoying the journey. And I
That
love
is,
that
that's
metaphor
good.
he used.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
Yeah. So, Blair, if you did you always have this did you also have an entrepreneurial environment? So like your parents or maybe friends around you, did that help or?
Yeah, I'm definitely in a very unusual situation where my whole family, all of us are entrepreneurs. So my parents, they've been entrepreneurs like many times throughout their career. They were in the restaurant industry mostly. The unicorn business I started with my mom. My brother and my sister are both entrepreneurs. So yeah, I've definitely always had the upbringing. Every time we go to a restaurant or store together, we're, like, picking it apart as far as, like, "Oh, can you imagine this business model? And look at the labor percentages over here." And, like, we're literally, like, dissecting it like crazy people, but that's truly how I've been raised, like, since I was very little. So, I'll never forget. I went to the movie theater with my grandma once, like when I was in middle school, probably. I think, yeah, I had to have been. And it was like an empty theater, like no customers were around. There was a crazy amount of staff. And I said, man, their labor percentage must be out the roof. And my mom, my grandma was like, only you of your parents' daughter would say something like that. It's like truly like that's what we do. So imagine like Thanksgiving dinner or something with us. Like that's just how it is. But it's a lot of fun. And I'm so thankful for being surrounded by that, because anytime I do hit those little speed bumps along the way, they're very supportive. They're very problem solving, or solution oriented. That's the term. And they get it. It's really hard to be an entrepreneur because you feel like you're on an island by yourself, because it isn't normal. So for anybody listening who doesn't come from an entrepreneur background, which I know is rare for me to have that, definitely find a community. There's so many entrepreneur communities online. Listen to Erwin's podcast, like just listen to people that are out there doing it and realize like you can do it too. And once you're with those communities of like-minded people, it makes things a lot easier that you can lean on them for that support.
Yeah, perfect. That's a great advice as well, Blair. And I'm very happy for you that you have been in such an environment, because I definitely know that it helps, to surround yourself with people, at least have them support you. They don't have to be entrepreneurs themselves, but once
Right.
you got them their support, it makes life so much easier. And that's
Mhm.
very important.
Yeah. I mean, just like somebody cheering you on. I do have plenty of friends that aren't entrepreneurs that are cheering me on. And it's like, it's such a nice thing to have. So just surround yourself with positive people,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. It also reminds me of a thing of my son's that, like I said, I started my entrepreneurial journey 7 years ago as a hypnotherapist.
Hmm.
And we had a little room in our house that we made like a practice room where we did sessions in that.
Hmm.
And my boys were, well, they were also a lot younger, they're now 14 and 15. So they were about, I would say about 8, 9, something like that. And when they
Hmm.
had friends over to play, they showed them the house, and they said, well, this is my room, that's the bathroom, that's his room, that's the hypnotherapy room. And they just went on like it was just
Normal.
normal for them, right? Like,
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
everybody have an
awesome.
hypnotherapy room in their house?
I mean, duh. If
Yeah,
not, what are
duh.
you doing?
It was just
That's
so
super
fun to
funny.
hear them say that to the friends, That's
That's awesome.
yeah. Um, I love talking to you, Blair, and I think we're going down the entrepreneurial road. We could stay here for hours. So
Yes.
definitely, if there's any tip or little piece of wisdom that you haven't shared yet with the audience and you would like to share, what would it be?
Oh, tough one. But I think the biggest thing is anybody who's like teetering on like, do I go for it? Do I stay in this corporate job or wherever you're at? Go for it. I think just get started. Know that you're going to hit those, roadblocks and stuff along the way. But once you get started, you're going to be so fired up about it because you're taking action closer to getting that dream scenario of whatever that is in your head. Just get started. Make your business official. Like once you have that on paper, with your state or wherever you live, make it official, set up your branding, set up all the systems and just get rolling. That's my biggest piece of advice. Don't push it off to, oh, I'll get to it later, because later will never happen. So just take action now, and you'll be so thankful that in a couple
Yeah.
years you'll look back on it and you'll be on this show maybe and you'll be like, wow, remember where I was at a few years ago?
Yeah, exactly. It reminded me of two things. That one of the things, well, my coach said, some days, not a day in a week, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
And
so true.
and once you put it on paper, or at least set it to somebody, put it out of the open.
Yeah,
It's so much like it's almost like you have to go for it. Now it's
it's
becoming real.
accountability.
Yeah, it's not
Hmm.
a dream anymore. It's not an idea in your head. The moment you shout it out, or you speak to somebody about it, or you put it on paper, like you said, you make it official.
Hmm.
That's the first hurdle to take. And
Hmm.
then it's just keep on going, keep momentum, and every journey starts with a small, with just one step. It doesn't matter how small it is, but once you've taken this first step, it could be a baby step, but at least you're taking a step, you're taking action. I think
Mhm.
that's what you said. It's the most important thing if they
Mhm.
considering becoming an entrepreneur.
Exactly. And
Right?
like once you say it out loud and you share it with somebody, or that could be becoming official, that's such a huge accountability that you'll be like, okay, now this is real. I got to do it now. Like I'm all in,
Yeah, exactly.
and you got to push yourself to do that for you to actually move forward with it. So definitely get started.
Perfect. So, Blair, if people want to know more about you, get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Sure, it's very easy. It's my name. It's blairebrown.com. Blair is spelled with an E on the end. So if you go to blairebrown.com, there's so many different free resources for new and aspiring entrepreneurs, and also businesses that already exist that just need marketing help. So all the resources you could think of. I have a podcast on there, the Curate Your Success podcast. I have a free workshop for people that are looking into entrepreneurship, and it helps guide you through the beginning stages, so that way you could do it yourself. And so those are the best ways to get in touch with me, and all my social media handles are on there as well.
Nice, nice, great. And thank you for sharing this with the audience as well, especially the free resources. That's so valuable for people. Um, and maybe a little piece of advice, to the audience as well. There's a lot of free stuff out there to help
Mhm.
you start your business, helping you overcome certain hurdles and whatever you're facing. But it's only worth it once you start implementing it. So
Mhm.
don't download it, but truly use it and start. So
Exactly. Totally. Don't kick the tire, just do it.
exactly. Thanks a lot, Blair, for your energy as well and everything you shared with me in the audience. I really loved our conversation. So wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to your first book, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you so much for having me.